Hello everyone, it's Riley here. I am going to be talking about Social Pragmatic Communication Disorder and Autism for employers who would like to hire an autistic person with or without Social Pragmatic Communication Disorder. Before you hire someone with our conditions, it's really important that you are prepared for how they're going to need to be spoken to. A lot of us really rely on routines that are very structured and implemented in a very specific way because we like to follow rules. When we have rules in place, it's a lot easier to maintain focus. It's a lot easier to get the job done and effectively and efficiently, and to be a role model for the rest of the company. One of the ways that you can do this is upon bringing them into training, go ahead and hire them if you want the person. But when you bring them into training, make sure you are prepared for their special need before they begin working, because it's really difficult for a person with our conditions to maintain, what would you call it? A healthy mind, like anxiety-free, without such things in place. One of the things that people with these needs like I have that you can do are creating lists, visual lists. And I mean, use photos, pictures of real things that are in your office or in your daycare center or whatever, wherever this person is going to be working. Here's one of the routines that I go through when I do have a job. I'm currently not working due to a pandemic, but I have a routine. And I know it's all backwards for you, but it's not backwards for me. So in this area, I would have pictures of what I'm going to be doing that day. So if I'm going to do a wake up routine, I'm going to have a picture of me waking up or a picture of anybody waking up. Me having a picture of me at work, me having a picture taking the bus, me having a picture of what I'm going to do for dinner, and then the list can go longer for however long the day is for that person. So over here I have some boxes, and they have check marks that you can check off everything that you've done. It's important to only put up to 2 tasks in one task when you do this, because a lot of times too many things at once is too chaotic for our brain to handle if you want us to maintain focus. So in the morning I get up and I brush my teeth and I use the restroom. I usually do it in reverse. Then I comb my hair, and then I get dressed for work, and then I eat breakfast. Usually that part of my day is pretty easy because I've already memorized my routine. But for new employees, it's going to be harder to have this memorized. But once they get it down, they really get it down. And eventually they won't need one of these for their new job. So when I get to work, let's just say that I work in an office and I'm just doing all the odd jobs because I don't really have enough skill or maybe the advanced level material that you may need, like using Excel or something like that. But I can do some things like picking up the mail when it gets delivered in the big old boxes and delivering it to everybody in the office. If there's an incident at work, you can type up in an incident report and return it when you're done. But make sure if that happens, you have to be very specific on what you want in the report and don't make it too complex for the person to understand. Then here, I noticed that I have breaks. Breaks are at 10 a.m., 1 p.m. for lunch, and then 4 p.m. It's important when you do breaks, you let them know how long they are, 30 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is. And then at the end of the day, I can close the doors and make sure they're all locked and make sure that every alarm system is on or whatever happens at your work. Then, after that, I go and catch a bus. So it says catch the bus at 5:30 p.m. in front of the office. Obviously, you wouldn't need to do this part for their routine because that's their routine. They're going to have to make sure that they understand their routine for after work, because you are not held liable to know that for them. So then I'll say ring the bell at a specific stop, get off the bus, and walk home. And then I have my dinner routine, and you get the point. Anyway, so pictures and lists are key to having a successful, differently abled person working at your work. It's very important that you understand to use clear and precise wishes for your employee, such as, I'm expecting you to vacuum the floor today. Please do it by this time. So they have the thing that they need to do, and they have a deadline. This allows them to have specific times a day when they're doing it, so they know in exactly the same order to do it in exactly the same order. And you get the picture. But it's very, very important that you do not use metaphors when talking to them. You're very direct when you talk to them when you have a specific task that they need to do, such as taking out the garbage or folding laundry or whatever it is that they have to do. And another thing that you have to be aware of is that even though you may have a specific way of doing things, your way might not be the best way for that person to do it. They might have a different thought process, but you need to understand that your way is okay for you and their way is okay for them. It may take a little longer for them to do the task if they do it your way. So you need to provide ample training time. The more you train a person with autistic needs or social pragmatic communication disorder, the better the outcome. And it's best to get the training done with all of these structures in place before you actually go on with leaving them behind and letting them do the work on their own. But I'm not saying follow their every move. Of course, we all don't want that. We want to feel like we can be independent just like you can. But the great thing about it is when you hire a person with special needs, such as autism and social pragmatic communication disorder, 90% of the time, you will have them following the orders exactly how you anticipated them to follow them, meaning they're less likely to give you trouble because we are rule followers for the most part. Taking and cutting corners is not something that's in our genuine nature. We like everyone to follow the rules because it confuses us less as a whole. So another thing that you need to be aware of is that you can always, how would I say this? This is part of social pragmatic communication disorder. I've got the thought in my head, but then when I want to put it in words out loud, it's hard to do. So what I was going to say is, with us, you have to make sure that you give us time to talk. You have to give us time to vent to you if we have a problem. And you have to deal with us venting, because it will happen. If someone doesn't like something that someone's doing because it's out of the order or their routine that they're used to, it can create chaos in the workplace. It can make your new worker feel like a failure, and we don't want that. So communication is key. Remember to use simple sentences that are not complex. Don't try and use big words. A lot of this, people with social pragmatic communication disorder only have up to probably an 8th grade vocabulary, but the problem with that is that they might have the vocabulary, but the vocabulary used in sentences might not feel like what they know in their head. It's like, okay, so I don't know how to explain this. You have to understand that using a single big word is something they'll understand, but when you put it into a sentence, it changes the whole dynamic of that word, and they might be lost. So if you can use 5th grade language, it's best, so that they can stay on track and understand everything that you want. Those are my best things that you can do for an autistic person with social pragmatic communication disorder, is to make sure that you use visual aids whenever you're trying to explain something to someone. Like, you're able to pick up a book and say, let me show you what I mean, and then point to the pictures in the book and explain things one step at a time. Doing more than 2 steps at a time is just too much. So anyway, I hope this helps. And I hope your new employee is the best one that you've got, because there are a lot of people out there with autism and social pragmatic communication disorder that are easy to mold into what you would like as an employee, versus somebody who's one of those people who just doesn't like to play by the rules. Yeah, you get the point. I hope that they work out for you. And don't give up. Don't give up on them. Let them prove it to you that they're worth it. Take care.